The first screen is pretty cool on Rockman, though.
Yeah, you get that little that little Mega Man image there. It's pretty neat.
Perfect. So they were starting off with the. It's gonna be Cutman first for the both runners, so we're gonna see some Zid into Elecman.
Yeah, it's a very mild difference in the routes, especially for just the a lot of the runners. Like if they can't do like the clip into the wall in elect stage very fast, then usually it's almost better to just go with guts. But both these guys feel, I guess, confident enough that they're ready to go all in for the clip and grab beam. So cut first it is.
You need to be fast at this point, and you need to be precise and confident, because we saw in the last race, I think it was Spiderweb Media who actually soft-logged the game here, so lose about 4 minutes here. It's really costly. If you're not 100% sure that you're gonna make it, you better just try to do the Gutsman first.
Yeah, when there's a risk where you can't really just reset and start the race over, there's in a lot of ways it's almost just better off to just play it really carefully, inch your way into that room just to barely grab the beam, because going a little bit fast and then getting yourself caught in that room is a pretty costly mistake, and you'd hate to see that kind of a time loss, that early into a 2-hour run. It could make coming back very difficult. So
really tough on the moral, yeah. So here we see Darkman is gonna play it safe because you need to roll the dice on the Robot Guardian. It's gonna be on the next screen. So I don't think there's any. It's all absolute RNG, so you can't really control that. So you need to. Your life needs to be. You need to have enough life to make it through without any problem.
He actually got good luck there and had the big eye jump over him there, so that was kind of fortunate. Although he did have the health, so he was fine. Ppotdot, on the other hand, took the damage, so. But thankfully he had enough health to not have to worry about it too much.
So here we're gonna have the first boss fight. It's gonna be against Cutman. With the boss, it's pretty easy once you know how to fight him. Oh, it can be a little tricky sometimes. Yeah, we can see that on Darkman.
Yeah, keeping him sort of pinned back by the wall, sort of just his AI wants to walk closer to Mega Man, and so if you can keep hitting him sort of back into that corner, he never really gets close enough to trigger a jump. Whereas if he's close enough to you, he'll start jumping around you and stuff, and then it starts to become a little bit more hard to manage. But once Darkman got him over into the corner, you can just see how much easier it is to go.
And here we go. One of the big one in Mega Man 1 for the robots. I mean, when you start up running this game, I think Helicman is the stage you really are in. This one and probably Iceman.
Yeah, this is the longest stage of the six robot stages in this game, so the runners have to be sort of a little cautious, but with these really long ladder climbs, it's really hard to make the stage faster until you can really get the beam. So there's not a whole lot you can do except climb and sort of wait for these Yokus that you see Ppotdot doing now. He is going the left route, so hopefully he can get this corner jump. He's having some issues. Oh no, he fell. So that'll be a pretty sizable time loss. I think it's about 12 seconds you lose when you fall. Oh, he's gonna fall a couple screens now because
oh my god,
3 screens.
So that's gonna be really costly. And we got Darkman took it safe and went to the right.
Yeah, so just showing again that risk to try to save a few frames or a couple seconds. In this case, ends up costing Ppotdot quite a lot of time. The ladder climbing is just so terribly slow.
There you go.
The second time.
So here we're gonna have our first zip to get the broken beam item. There
so
we
the
go.
inputs for this are kind of tricky. But yeah, to get on the ladder and then glitch over into the wall, even when you're in the wall, to sort of time your inputs so that you can inch over to grab the beam is kind of awkward. You kind of have to like run to the right for a little bit and then press left. It doesn't just let you instantly walk in there. It's kind of strange how it works. But
yeah, this one is really not intuitive.
But yeah, even just to get into the ladder, it's kind of awkward. You see Ppotdot doing it now. Basically, he has to press down and fire on the exact same frame for 1 frame, and then once he's facing left, he can just press up, and it sort of zips him over like it did there. So pretty quick grab there for Ppotdot, which is pretty good. But again, with some of those unfortunate falling screens there, he's got a little bit of work ahead of him. And Darkman looking a little bit scared of that big eye there, but he does sort of outweight him and get the large jump that he was looking for to save some of his health. So
he's gonna go. He doesn't have enough beam to climb this ladder really fast. I don't know if he would have tried it if he had enough, but he's going for the safe one here.
Yeah, you can beam past a couple of these elect beams each time, but it's pretty tight to get the beams off and make the jumps, and you need 3 beams typically to get through one the fastest way, or you can do it the sort of slow way by skipping 1 beam if you have 2 beams, which it looked like Ppotdot was kind of trying to do there, but didn't quite get past that. So it looks like he's maybe we'll go for 1 more. We'll see. Nope, he's just gonna wait the beams out. That's probably all right.
There we go. So we're gonna see the ice zip here for the first one in this match, or at least an attempt to it.
Yeah, we'll probably see both of them at least try to set it up. Depending on how many beams it takes, they may just decide to skip it, but hopefully we'll see at least 1.
Yeah. So this one you don't have the ladder to actually for a visual cue or to align yourself with the right pixel you need to grab for that zip. So this one's a little bit more tricky than the. Oh no, you got Darkman. He's only gonna go for he's gonna keep his beam and pass the Yuko blocks.
That's not even really that bad of a strat. You see here, he's using a lot of beam, but since he didn't waste any trying to do the zip, he's got plenty of beam, and he only really needs 2 to get to the middle of this long open section to get where the refill is. So as long as, like, doing that, I mean, it is slower than doing the wrap, but you can see it's really not that much slower. Like, he still made it through that section pretty quickly. If you plan accordingly for it, it's pretty good.
We saw it already on the other matches that if you try to do a zip and it doesn't work well, a zipless strat, well done, can be way better.
Yeah, execution, like, just because the zip is faster, and you see Ppotdot got the screen wrap, he got the zip.
He's gonna gain a little bit of time here.
He'll gain, some time back there, which is good. And he doesn't even need to get the refill because he's got enough beams to get all the way across. So that's another thing that he saves time in on Darkman there.
So here,
you want to talk about the select glitch?
Well, the select glitch is you use it from pretty much all the bosses in Mega Man 1. You're gonna see the player pause and unpause the game with select, so the iframe of the bosses actually is gonna disappear or be not activate, So he's gonna be able to do a lot of damage when the beam like this is passing through the bosses every time, because the iframe is gonna be there we go. So no zips for Darkman for the start of fire. Oh no, he's gonna do it with the ladder
setup.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a consistent way to do it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like Maz was saying, it's the select button is kind of weird in Mega Man 1 in that it pauses the game, it pauses Mega Man's iframes, but it doesn't pause boss's iframes. So yeah, you can just maintain a bullet inside of its hitbox and just wait for the iframes to wear off, and then unpause and repause again, and essentially just freeze kill every single boss in this game pretty much. So it's kind of a big advantage for the speedrunners here, being able to make the bosses super manageable because of that.
That's the kind of trick that you can find when you're a kid and you play Mega Man 1 in your basement.
Yeah, for sure.
Obvious enough, dude.
Which is so strange because I don't think the select button is like even used in any of the other Mega Man games.
No.
So it's kind of strange to think that it actually had a use in the first one. Very nice fire zip from Darkman there. Got a good setup.
Yep.
see if Ppotdot can do it as well as he's coming up to it right away.
I think we can probably say that the fire zip in that stage is pretty much the most dangerous trick in the 6 robots for Mega Man 1.
Yeah, this trick is kind of scary because if you actually don't set it up correctly and you jump either too early or too late, you can actually be on the wrong sort of location, and when you go to zip, you'll just fall straight down and you'll die. Yep. So it's really important, actually, the inputs that are there to set up the screen transition to the next screen, they don't look very precise, but they actually are. And the runners have to pay attention, because if they, like I said, if they don't get it right, they die, and they go back to the middle checkpoint, and they're likely going to be down beams, which will make trying to do it again likely impossible if they don't have enough beams. But that zip does save quite a bit of time, because it prevents so you don't have to walk all the way around. So as long as you can do it, again, setup is important because you want to pull the setup off as fast as possible. But as long as you can sort of set it up fairly quickly, it's not too bad.
So at this point, I think for all the Mega Man 1 runners, really the worst is done. You got the first 4 splits in this game are really brutal, but after that, Bomb Man is not too hard. The zip setup and everything is fairly easy. And after that, when you got the broken beam for Gutsman, it's a piece of cake. It's a walking park for most of the runner.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can see why the cut first route is slightly better than the Guts first one. It just allows you to get the magnet beam, one stage sooner. Mm-hmm. And you can see how useful the magnet beam really is, just allowing you to zip, allowing you to cross over big pits and stuff like that. It just makes it an incredibly useful item for the speedrun. Ooh.
So I think it was 1 pixel too high, I'm not sure.
I think his setup was a little off. That looks a little better.
Yeah, and you got a troll beam here. So yeah, with the magnet beam or the broken beam, what actually can happen is you put it there, it's there, but still, sometimes you can pass through it.
Yeah.
So a good setup here is trying to put 2 beams actually for this zip can really help, I think, for avoid that kind of thing. But fortunately, actually, the checkpoint when you die here is you appear in the same section. So
this race, they're basically they're equal or even again.
I think we're gonna see a lot of that during this race. It's gonna be
I think so.
Yeah,
a lot of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So Darkman does get his kill first. It is important to keep in mind that in Mega Man 1, since when you kill a boss, there's an orb that drops from the ceiling. They do have to pick up that orb before they continue on to the next game. So just getting their last hit here on Gutsman isn't enough. They have to make sure that they actually grab the orb. Whereas Mega Man 2 and all the way to 6, there is no orb, so it's just on kill. They switch games.
So here we're gonna see. I think this is gonna be the first time we see Gutsman done with a magnet beam in this run, in this tournament. Oh, and a pretty custom one for.
I guess the beam must have been a little bit too high there, so he wasn't able to actually stand on it. So.
Well, people are gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah, Ppotdot gets his little. He had that really short lead there for a little while, and he's gotten it back now. But again, Mega Man 1, we've seen this already in this tournament, like just in the first 2 days, like how people have struggled with this game, because it's just, there's some pretty tough strats, like with the zips and everything, and depending on how risky you want to go, sometimes it can be worth it, but sometimes the risk is not worth the reward, and we've seen some people come out of this game pretty far behind, even before getting to Mega Man 2, so right now, seeing them both in the same last stage, this is probably actually one of the closest so far races we've had where both runners have been like right near the end of the first game. Just literally 1 boss corridor behind at the moment, even with that death. So
yeah, sometimes the Mega Man 1 is a little bit the runner's not going to consider it in first place. It's only like 15 minutes and
okay.
electric robot. So and there we go. Ppotdot got the orbs.
Yeah, that was a little scary there with his health
Yep.
being really low, but he gets through it. And Darkman gets
Darkman.
his kill, so this is really close.
So I didn't see. Does Ppotdot play Rockman or Mega Man 2?
I think he's playing normal, so I think they're both playing normal. There isn't a whole lot of reason right now for the runners to play on Rockman 2 at the moment, unless they're very confident in their execution, because despite the fact that the menus are shorter in Rockman 2, the boss fights obviously and the gameplay is a little harder.
Yeah.
So you have to be, you can't just like sort of go, okay, I'm going to save a bunch of time just because my menus are shorter. You have to actually be able to execute the difficult strats, and so a lot of people just decide to go with the normal strats because of that.
Flashman on normal is fairly easy to beat with 7 shot, but with 14 it can deal a bunch of damage and it can get really complicated. And after that you get 8 men with 14 shot, it takes forever.
Yeah, the Rockman 2 Buster fight for Flashman is just, it's very, very amazing when you see someone do it correctly. It's it's quite a beautiful thing.
It's like a dance with the Flashman. It's good. Really something.
But this version of the fights, it's similar to the Rockman 2 fight, but obviously it's only the first half of it, so makes it a little bit easier. Like Matt said, it's only 7 shots, so they don't have to do nothing too crazy. Just get their shots on point. Something that's kind of handy in Mega Man 1 and 2 is that if a boss is in iframes, they won't absorb any shots that are over top of them, so you can actually time your shots in a way so that you can have bullets overlapping their hitbox, so that the moment their invincibility frames drop, they'll get a frame perfect hit for the next hit. So you'll see them, even though they are shooting kind of early, you can actually see the bullets sometimes travel through the boss, whereas in Mega Man 3 to 6 they took that away.
So we're gonna see, I think the both runners, are they gonna go with 8 or Airman first, second for this one? Or maybe there was something discussed about Airman last, I think?
There was. I don't know if any of these guys have gone through that. Looks like Ppotdot's heading off to Heat, so he's doing the standard speedrun route. We'll see which way Darkman goes.
It's gonna be the same thing here.
So that means
some item 1 in the Airman,
Yeah, the fast air strats will be coming out when we get to Airman stage. And that also means that these guys are going to have to do the Yoku blocks in Heat stage.
Yeah, it's a little bit longer for 8-man stage, but it's going to be they can catch up that with in Airman stage. I think it's when it's well executed, it's going to be what 7 or 8 seconds faster than the Earth second.
Yeah, it varies a little bit, I think, depending on the execution of the runner. But yeah, I'd say probably around that would be a good average. So Ppotdot trying to set up this first zip. He's facing the wrong direction, though. So his item is on the right wall. He's going to have to reset this room since the tellies are getting close. That might give Darkman the advantage. Ooh. There he goes.
So
Darkman gets it off first. And Ppotdot right behind him. Almost ran out of item 3, though. That was pretty close. Now, there is a sort of a way to activate these Yoku blocks a little bit faster, but it does require you to be very, very risky. You kind of have to almost be landing your jumps on the far right edge of each Yoku block. Ooh, did Darkman make it? He made it.
On the tip, too.
Barely. Oh, my goodness. So Mega Man 2 is special. Yeah, in Mega Man 2 it's special because when you pause, you actually reset your fall speed. And if Darkman had not done that, I think he was probably going to die in that pit. So that was incredibly close.
Yep.
But yeah, both runners make it through that Yoku section. That was kind of a little mini heart attack there. So Heatman, he can be a jerk. He's one of the larger RNG bosses of Mega Man 2, and when you shoot him and he sort of gets mad and charges at you, he has a 3 different patterns. He can charge at you 1/2 second, 1 second, or 1.5 seconds after you shoot him. So usually you look for those 1/2 second patterns and hope that that's what you can get, but you're really sort of at the mercy of the game.
So Airman and 8-man are already the RNG bosses into Mega Man 2. they can really make a difference on your run. And that's on Rockman too. I mean, when you got 14 shot for Eatman, you can change a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like doubling the length of the fight. But yeah, best case versus worst case scenario, just to those patterns. I mean, you could potentially be 7 seconds behind after finishing that fight if you get the worst pattern. So it's actually a pretty big swing.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
So both runners off to Airman. So this is going to be a really critical screen because if they die somewhere in this screen, they'll be out of flash because they're going to open with that to get through some of these platforms first. And not only that, but they'll probably be low on item 1s, making it difficult to do the rest of the stage correctly. So
this is probably one of the worst places to die into a run or a race.
Yeah, definitely. And looks like Darkman is actually just going to ride the platforms. Which is kind of unfortunate then, if he's going to do this, that he didn't do that. He should have done air second then, because then he could have had item 2 for the Yoku block section in heat, but he's still not going to lose a ton of time really for that. It shouldn't be a big deal, but you can see Ppotdot getting through and without dying, and so obviously a much faster screen without having to ride the cloud platforms.
So yep, here you're gonna have Ppotdot. It's gonna take a little bit of life on the way because actually, if you want to do a quick fight with Airman, you need to take damage from the tornadoes. So with this stretch, you're gonna take a lot of damage from the air guy shooting lightning bolts. So
yeah. Yeah, Airman's air shooters do push you back, but if you can damage boost sort of midway through them pushing you back, you can kind of reset your horizontal speed that way and get closer to him. So we'll see if that gets used here. It's just dodging the air shooters. Again, Airman goes down pretty fast than normal.
Yeah.
Ppotdot's through.
A good Airman pattern can change the fight for the stage for about maybe 4 seconds for usually.
So we'll see what kind of pattern that Darkman gets. Not a bad pattern, but he does get the 3 cycles, so.
So no big mistake on Airman, so it's still pretty close here.
Yeah. So I guess overall, to sort of discuss with this, we usually go to these first 3 stages because we get the items, and the items are useful for progressing through the stages usually faster. They allow us to zip, they allow us to travel with item 2 very quickly, sometimes horizontally. And so now that these guys have all the items, they can start doing some pretty crazy stuff through these stages. You're going to see Ppotdot try to go for a zip here and crash. Looks like he's going to try to set up Biggie. Didn't quite get it, so he'll have to go to the second screen setup. But essentially, he's going to zip past the checkpoint of this stage, and then
he's gonna
Death Warp. Ooh, having some issues setting it up though. That might be too far to the right. Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna lure a little bit the telly on the left. Gonna try to make it set up. That's gonna be. I think that's gonna be alright. Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
So you see him sort of different setup for for the zip. You're gonna have the B trigger and you have the A trigger. So this one's gonna be a B trigger. So when you're on the screen, you shoot and you press left with a window of 3 or 6 frames. And sometimes you're gonna see for the one on Eatman, it's gonna be a A trigger though. So you need to jump and then press left in the same window.
Yeah, the B triggers are much easier because you get that whole that animation of Mega Man throwing the item. You have that whole window to do it. I think it's like a 20 frame window actually.
Yeah.
Pretty huge. So obviously those ones are really easy, but yeah, like I said, the A triggers are a little trickier. You don't have as much time, and you do it when you can't see Mega Man as he's off screen. So sometimes timing them can be a little awkward, but so far these guys have been nailing pretty much everything that they've gone for. So, and they're again, basically they're still on the same screen. Like this race is super close still.
So we're gonna see in Mega Man 2, it's all about the zip, but it's all about the ladder climb too. If you want to make great time in this game, you need to know how to handle the item tree on the ladders.
Yeah, Yeah, there's definitely strats to this. It's not just as simple as placing the item 3. Like, every 16 pixel tile has about a 4 pixel window where you can place these item 3s, and they will actually place below Mega Man's feet. So you can actually do like an A plus B input, and by releasing at the same time, you'll actually land right on it. If you place it anywhere else in the other 12 pixels, it'll place the item above Mega Man, and you'll have to climb up to it to actually land on it. So the runners are actually aiming for very specific spots in the ladder to be able to get those jumps.
One shot kill for a Ppot, quick kill on a Crashman with one shot of Tornado. And we got Darkman using 2 shots here, unfortunately. But that's a matter of a second here. So
yeah, it's just luck. Depends on if Crash gives you the high jump or the low jump. You need the high jump for the double hit.
But it looks pretty cool though.
Yeah. So off to quick. It looks like Ppotdot's already on item 1, so I'd say we're going to see Zips, and Darkman is as well, so we're probably going to be seeing this first Zip for sure.
So smart move here, he take the life, Darkman, so I'm guessing if he missed the Zip, the good one on Woodman stage, so he's gonna have a second shot to try it. Because when you're doing Zip in Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, you need to die on the Crashman Zip and the Woodman, so you don't have a second shot.
And you see Ppotdot's actually flashing the screen here. You see he's doing that. It's actually on purpose, because if he doesn't flash the screen, he has to... So he's actually screen wrapped past the one screen he was on. You saw him sort of walking around, and it was like he was clearly not on the screen he was on. He has to sort of unscreen wrap himself, and so he has to flash the screen in order to do that. Otherwise, the beams will kill him when he's trying to do that. So that switch to flash is actually something that is required. Darkman, on the other hand, just playing the stage normally.
On the last screen before the boss door, actually, there's a Zip here, but it's pretty tricky. You can actually soft lock the game here, but if you warp, if you zip too far to the right. So I think we're gonna see a lot of runners skipping this one. I think we saw it once in the tournament by Fast. And,
Yep. Yeah, definitely. The amount of time lost that this hallway is, it's realistically in a 2-hour run almost not worth going for that potential soft lock Zip. If they do soft lock, the runners are going to have to, they'd have to reset the console and password back to Quickman stage, basically. So it's a pretty big time loss because they have to start the stage from the beginning again as well. So again, showing that Zip, giving Ppotdot a slight advantage again over Darkman. Just those faster strats, when they do pay off, you can really see the difference. But when they don't, it can be scary.
Yep.
So Ppotdot had a really nice setup for that first Zip. Ooh, looks like he was trying to set up that second one. The second one, unfortunately, doesn't save very much time, about half a second, but he went for it once and realized he didn't get the right item placement, so decided to just skip it.
So he plays the item 2 for skipping. You need to jump over the enemy or you're gonna get knocked back of the item 2 here. It saves a lot of time. It's really an easy strat, but it's definitely you need it when you're playing Mega Man 2. A nice little jump here from Darkman, who actually it didn't get hit by the other enemy. The jump looks really simple. It's actually a little bit trickier.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight jump. You have to make sure you don't jump too high or you'll jump into the clown, and you can't jump too short or you won't make your jump. So pretty precise input.
So here
I
think we can say that it's probably, once you know the trick, one of the easiest fight in all the Mega Man series.
Yeah, especially on normal. Metal never ever gets a chance to do anything on normal. In Rockman, since the fight lasts a little longer, he does end up throwing something at you. But in this version, you just basically enter the fight and you hold B, because the trigger to make Metal Man actually jump and start shooting at you is to press B. So if you're already holding B down, he won't ever do anything on normal. And the bonus with Quick Boomerang is that it has an auto fire function, so you just have to hold B and sort of let the weapon do the work while you just do little hops in the middle of the room.
Oh, perfect. We're gonna have here Ppot actually freeze the timer already. He's gonna do the little zip here and miss it, so he's gonna have to deal with the last dog here.
Yeah, it's gonna have to kill this guy. And Darkman going about it without worrying about the zip, so he's gonna kill the first dog with heat, and then he'll use flash to get past the second two.
And we're gonna see, here's the big one in Mega Man 2, the most impressive one. Maybe not the artist, but it's really the most impressive one for the viewers. The good wood.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. If you don't know the layout of Woodman Stage, it's kind of confusing to sort of figure out where he is. But essentially, he is just in another location of Woodman Stage. And again, similar to the Crashman one, he's just going to progress until he gets past the boss corridor, and then he's going to get kill himself off and essentially death warp, as you see there, right there, right to the boss corridor, skipping the second half of Woodman Stage.
Really well done for Ppotdot.
Yeah. You may also see, like, the runners, you see Darkman there, he's switching to heat. That's actually intentional because heat also, when you die, usually there's a delay in the game before you actually respawn. But if you're charging heat and you die, when you let go of B, you will instantly respawn. So the runners are actually switching to heat there on purpose so that they can respawn faster on a death. Oh, we got a password.
Oh, password threats.
So Mega Man 2. Oh, we got another password. Mega Man 2 is notorious for that. In every other Mega Man game, the game defaults. Well, it's not an option in 1, but in 3 to 6, it defaults to stage select after you defeat. But in Mega Man 2, for whatever reason, they put the default option to go to password. So runners have to actually press down before hitting A to go back to the stage select menu, or they will get a little sort of nice extra long break of password.
And first death of the Brown.
Yeah, Ppotdot getting knocked down there. So it is a game over. He will get his item 2 back, which is kind of nice.
So he's got a second try here. Oh, and same trouble for Darkman, but he nicely recovered from that.
Yeah, just barely saves it there.
Yeah.
I think Ppotdot's item 2 usage here, it's a little low, and so he's sort of getting sniped by these frogs as he's going over top, but gets past it the second time, so a little quick lead swap here, but still very close between the two guys. Gonna see probably our last zip here with the item 1. I don't think either of these guys, well, neither of these guys will go for the item 2 zip because they already used their item 2. See if they, looks like Darkman's going for the A trigger, much safer. And same with Ppotdot.
There we go. So yeah, the item 2 trick is, I don't think save a lot of time, it's really, really risky. You get spikes everywhere, you can easily die while trying this one.
Yeah, and it's a really tight trick too. Like I think, I'm pretty sure it's like a 2-frame trick. I'm pretty sure. I have to double check with one of the MM2 runners, but I'm pretty sure. So it's a pretty small window. Like you got a 1/30th of a second to hit the buttons at the right time, basically. But into Bubble, final Robot Master Mega Man 2, and then we're off to the sliding Mega Man games.
Yep, we're gonna start with Mega Man 3. So, is all the runner Ppot and Darkman gonna use Magnet, or we're gonna see some Top Man strats? Do you think?
We're definitely gonna see Magnet from Ppotdot. I'm not sure where Darkman's gonna go. If he's gonna go with, I feel like he'll do either Gemini or Magnet. Oh no, he is gonna go top. All right, I haven't seen him do this route yet, so
that's gonna be interesting for sure.
We'll see how it goes. Ppotdot definitely doing Magnet first. He's a firm believer in Fasta's route that he pioneered here in the last couple years. Magnet is a much safer race route because a lot of the strats are just a little bit easier. You don't have to do any of the crazy screens that you do in Gemini first or top first. Pretty much, it's all really straightforward stuff. And so, in a situation like this, probably a good choice.
Can have a little bit of RNG on the Magnet fight, but except for that, it's a pretty safe one.
Yeah, realistically, that's really the only sort of downside is you get the RNG, and then you also have to go through the Yoku blocks of Magnet stage. Whereas it comes down to execution, really, for the top first runners, because they got to do the Parasue section in Shadow is probably the most dangerous part, and even a single death in that room will make his route slower. So it's very important when Darkman gets there to make sure that his jumps are accurate.
Yeah, a lot of new runners gonna start with Magnet first because it's way easier, or Gemini. But if you start with top first, I mean, it's gonna be, the route is faster, but you need to execute it well if you want it to be fast.
Yeah,
them in a lot of mashing.
Yeah, I think it's almost a fallacy when people go to learn a speed game. Sometimes is they quickly look at the route for the world record and they go, well, that's the route I gotta copy. But realistically, that's not always the best decision, especially in this game too. Like, if you start with top first, you're probably going to be struggling for quite a while before you get sort of comfortable. And there you're seeing that RNG kick in there with Magnet, and his Ppotdot's getting a few extra magnets, trying to like pull him in there, but his HP's too low. He can't deboost him out of that pattern, so getting some extra time loss there, unfortunately.
So we're gonna see the route for Magnet first and Topman first align themselves. I think it's after the fourth bosses, or which one?
Sixth boss. Yeah.
Six boxes. Okay. Yes.
So we'll usually, the way the standard route is for both these two routes is their last two robot masters will be Spark and Snake. So once the runners have those two robots left, they should be back and even. We'll be able to see sort of who's come out ahead.
So nice B section for Ppotdot. He's gonna use coil here to kill the last bee. We didn't get it. It's gonna
slow.
Yeah.
So he got some bees there. Only one set of bees is not too terrible. The problem is when you miss one of the first sets of bees, because if you don't start to try to despawn them or kill them, they like to sort of compile on each other, because it's hard to kill the next bee when there's little bees chasing you, and then you usually get more. And once you start having like 6 to 10 bees chasing you at once, the amount of lag on the screen is just unbearable. So so here comes Darkman into this long Parasue section. This is going to be very critical. He needs to get through this room without dying, or he'll probably end up being slow. Oh, he's actually going to take it safe, so he may actually not be any faster doing it this way, but it's a lot safer for sure.
Absolutely.
Just due to the RNG that Ppotdot got, that is probably still faster. But in a standard route side by side, a good executed Magnet first versus a top first, that probably would not have made his route faster.
We're talking about how many time save for a Topman first route.
Oof, fortunate death there. Top first is only maybe a few seconds, maybe 3 or 4 seconds, I think, faster than Magnet first. And then Magnet first is only maybe like a couple seconds faster than Gemini first. Like, it's really not a huge difference. If you can execute, let's say, the Gemini first route, like, really well, then you're almost better off running that instead of top first, so.
Yeah, I mean, in the top 20, I think there's people running pretty much every route there.
Yeah. So Darkman unfortunately took a death there and ran out of top energy. Something that he's having issues with here is he's actually standing right, when he's standing right in the corner, that's actually a bad thing, because Shadow Man will charge right into that corner and jump straight up, and you can't actually move fast enough to the right. But he's sort of got a strat now, it looks like, here to take Shadow out, and he's got one more hit. Very nice.
Great job. Shadow Man is one of the worst, I think, to fight with the Buster. He's really, really aggressive.
Yeah, it's a very tough fight, but it's also probably one of the most fun Buster fights to do once you have a good feel for how to execute it. So Darkman did a pretty good job there of actually sort of figuring it out on the fly. I don't know if he's actually practiced that fight at all, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, we may gonna see that a lot in the tournament. If unfortunately a runner is gonna drain all the top weapons, he's gonna need to change for Buster, and it can be quite difficult here.
One bonus for Ppotdot is if that does happen to him, he will have Hard Knuckle, and Hard Knuckle is a soft weakness for Shadow, does 2 damage, so he can actually kill Shadow as a backup a little bit faster, having that in his back pocket.
So we got everyone's favorite, I think, is Gemini stage.
Yeah.
And that's the stage I think it's the only zip into Mega Man 3.
Yeah, the only zip really that's worthwhile going for sure, and it's the only one in 8 robots. In theory, there's zipping that you can do in Doc Gemini, but it's not, even in any percent, like it's not really worth going for. But we're actually seeing Darkman just not even go for it. He's just gonna mash his way through.
The time save here is so, I mean, it doesn't, it's like maybe a second or something. So sometimes if you're not really, if you're not capable of doing it or set it up, like, really, you're gonna lose more time trying to set it up than to actually do the zip. So
I think I think Darkman got like 2 1-ups from like 3 tadpoles there. That was kind of funny. Seeing that Hard Knuckle make quick work of Top Man as well. So Ppotdot 3 robots in. The one benefit though, once Darkman gets out of Gemini, is he may be sort of like a stage behind at the moment, but he's going to have the 2 hardest stages sort of out of the way. Gemini and Shadow for the top first route are definitely the big roadblocks, and once you're out of those ones, feels pretty good. And Ppotdot is just on his way to those stages. Shadow won't be as bad for Ppotdot though, because like we said, he's got Magnet Missile. So you'll see that section that Darkman had to do very carefully and slowly with top spin, with all the parachutes coming down from the top of the room. Ppotdot will have Magnet, and Magnet will track those enemies, so he doesn't really even have to worry about them. He can just shoot a Magnet, and the only thing he has to sort of pay attention to is making sure that if the parachutes drop anything, that he avoids those drops or tries to be careful of his jumps when he's making going over those pits.
So this one is a really nice section here. You can have a lot of lag. It's really about mashing. It looks easy, but to master this section, it's really, you need quite a lot of training here.
Yeah, memorizing like the layout of even just the screen takes a little bit, and then getting comfortable with where you want to slide and how many shots you want to shoot at each enemy is actually pretty important. Lag reduction is a huge deal in Mega Man 3, so
it's a really nice section here for Ppot.
Yeah, there's just seeing how much easier that room is with magnets. It's really simple.
So we're gonna see here a needle stage without the magnet beam. So that's the magnet weapon. So it's really more complicated than but once you're good for with the Buster, you can make it pretty easy. But certainly demand more training and effort than the magnet.
Yeah, a little more mashing on a couple enemies because you don't deal as much damage, but also you can't kill a couple of the enemies either because Buster only goes straight, whereas Magnet will track enemies. So it's kind of nice that you have Magnet in that stage sometimes, because you can kill a few more enemies on some of the screens, and again reduce some lag because of that. And we'll see that when Ppotdot gets through Gemini and heads to Needle after this stage.
So one of the critical fight in Mega Man 3, maybe not the hardest, but if you miss the shot on Needleman, you're like this. Here, your shoot can go on forever, and you're not able to shoot two laser here. But
yeah,
that's bad here.
It's really unfortunate when you miss a laser, because like in Mega Man 4 and 5, if you were to, like, let's say have a weapon like that where you missed, you could pause and basically it takes the weapon off screen. But in Mega Man 3, once there's a shot on screen, it does not allow you to pause. The only time that works is with like Rush Coil. There's kind of they forgot to make a check there for like the rush weapons. But for any other weapon like the boss weapons or Buster, you cannot pause with a shot on screen. So it becomes a pretty big time loss, since also Gemini Laser it looks like one sprite, but it's actually 3 small sprites. And that's actually why it lags the game so much, because it's actually like 3 separate bullets going around the screen. And
here they are in the chat. When someone miss a shot on Needle, you're gonna have the Nudu laser appearing. The people is gonna type that. Do you know the original? That I know Nudu as a Mega Man 3 runner, but
well, I don't. the story I've been told is there was a race that Nadua took part in, and I guess he missed. I don't know if he missed a laser or a bunch of lasers or what happened, but I guess he rage quit from the race because of it, and so I guess it just sort of got nicknamed after him after that. That's the story I've been told. So
I was wondering for quite a long time, so it's really nice to have at least one version of the story.
I guess it's a way that nobody wants to let him forget it, I guess. So.
So we're gonna have the Gemini fight here for a Ppot. Oh, wait.
To say his health looked a little low, and yeah, unfortunately he took a body hit, and so takes a death.
So I don't know, in the Mega Man 3, there's a lot of E-Tank pickup on the way. And actually, which you're gonna need for the Duck Wily, the Duck stages and the Whiteys. So you can actually you're gonna have some E-Tank on the way for the 8 robots if you're really in trouble that you can use, which is quite nice.
Yeah, you don't have to ever have to feel like you're wasting them. Like they practically put 3 at least in your path, and more if you want to switch in menu to like Coil or something to grab a couple more. So I mean, realistically, it's how fast or safe do you want to play. If you want to go all in and skip a bunch of them, then you go for it. But there's never any shame in quickly E-tanking and making sure you don't die. Saving yourself that potential 35-ish second time loss is a much better option.
So here though, you see for the first 2 bits, pretty nice with a shadow weapon here on the top end first strats. Yeah,
it makes hitting those bees pretty easy. Actually, these guys look like they're pretty close in time, but I would still say Ppotdot has a bit of a lead here. Needleman's stage is very short, and Hardman's is a little bit longer. So even though they look like they're still on their sort of 6th stage here, I'd say Ppotdot is probably closer to where he wants to be in comparison to Darkman at the moment.
For the Hardman stage, still, and you got a proto fight to do, so.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the hardest proto fight of the 8 robots because the ground is uneven. So it makes it a little more difficult to get your shots in. So you can see here, Ppotdot's already at the boss door, and Darkman's still got to go a few more screens and his proto fight before he even gets to his boss fight. So Ppotdot's already complaining about a Nadua laser in chat, and there it is. He accidentally fires it the wrong way. At least it did ricochet around, and he did get the hit, so Needle does go down. So he's going to be off to... Snake is typically the standard 7th stage, although I have seen every once in a while some people do Spark before Snake, so we'll see what he picks, but I'm guessing it'll be Snake. And Darkman finally hitting the boss door of Hardman, so now you can see sort of that time difference from the different routes, as they will now be on the same route after this. Oh, and there you go, see, Ppotdot's going to Spark, so we'll be seeing Snake last from him.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter which one you're gonna do first, I think. Snake is really, you can really change it anywhere. You're not gonna have any time loss. Like in Mega Man 2, people have been changing Bubble and Wood just because the delay a little on the Bubble Man stage when you kill him is a little bit longer than the other stages.
Yeah. Yeah, the only real difference is that Ppotdot will have like 1 extra input in his menu. Other than that, it's basically identical. The route is really not different in any way. Having Spark in the menu when you do Snake, when you try to menu over to Jet, is basically, it's like 1 extra input.
So we got Cal saying that Ppot is 33 seconds ahead of, according to the stream.
Right, so still, it's a nice lead, but again, like in Mega Man 3 all the way to, to 5, deaths are pretty punishing, so even 1 single death could even that out. 6 deaths aren't quite as bad, but even then, still, you can lose a bit of time if you start missing a couple slides. But we won't have to worry about that yet for a couple more games.
Yeah, we're gonna see the next game is gonna be Mega Man 4. We got a time of 41:43 for Ppot, and we don't have any time on Mega Man RTA for Darkman, so we're gonna see how he can handle Mega Man 4.
Experience-wise, Darkman has more experience in 5. Ppotdot did start learning 5 fairly recently. He's got an okay time in it. Ooh, takes that slide death. But then Ppotdot has more experience in 6 typically, so you may see Darkman start to rally if he's still behind after 4 to catch up a bit in 5. But he does need to have, I think, a little bit of a lead going into 6 because there's a strong chance that Ppotdot will definitely have a faster 6 time. So this is sort of the main reason why you don't do Snake fairly early in any route, because you really want to have Jet for this room. As you can see, if you don't have Jet here, you have to wait for those cloud platforms, and it's very slow. So basically coming here after completing Needle at some point is pretty much a requirement. Which I think for every single route, that's pretty much the only way you would ever come here, I think, before Needle would be if you were doing this stage first, which is probably not advisable.
So here we're seeing the runners. They're gonna try to kill Snake Man when they are in the middle of the screen. Oh, something popped here. He's gonna avoid to have to walk and climb to the middle of the stage here. It doesn't look like, but I mean, after 8 robots, it can be at least like maybe a 10 or 15 second gain if you do it right.
Ppotdot had a little sort of wiggle here, seeing these really, really nice, clean slide cancels, showing his Mega Man 6 experience. Still got bonked, though, by that last pole vaulter.
So, yeah, that's going to be one interesting thing. We're going to see, I think, from Ppot, a lot of slide canceling in Mega Man 6, which we didn't see from the other runners, probably, in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, Darkman does take a hit, but he is able to quickly slide through that last enemy with his invincibility frames, so that was good. So Ppotdot got to get his last hits in here on Snakes. They were sort of moving around on him. He's getting a lot of extra leg. There it is, finally. So finished with Mega Man 3, and he's off to Mega Man 4.
So 52-17 for Ppotdot is done for Ppot.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but whenever I do a multi-game category for the Mega Man games, the hardest transition for me is between 3 and 4. The movement in 3, the slide is shorter, so it's like a very quick sort of boom, 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 boom sort of feel when you slide. And then all of a sudden you get that longer slide in 4, now it's like a boom, boom, boom. And so, especially your very first screen when you transition to the next game, the movement is usually so terrible, and it takes like it takes a good like 3 to 4 minutes just for me to sort of adjust and go, oh yeah, I'm playing this game now. So this is one of the transitions that I'm always interested in watching, because it's always neat to see if they're able to just quickly adapt, or if they struggle a little bit for the first stage or two.
Yeah, maybe the transition between Mega Man 3 and 4 is more complicated or difficult to adjust, because they are really close. They are way more closer than, I mean, you're gonna have Mega Man 3 and 6, which Mega Man 6 slides are radically like really different. So you need to Mega Man 3 and 4, they are kind of look alike, but their timing is not the same, so you can get confused real quick.
And this is also the first game that has the charge busters, so
yeah, absolutely.
You'll see. Oh, so Darkman got sniped by the fly, so he's not going to have balloon for Skull or Ringman stage. It's not a huge time loss. It's about maybe 10 seconds, but it is a little bit of a time loss. And I don't know how practiced he is in the backup strats, because basically now, instead of using balloon, he's going to want to use Flash Stopper as a backup. To try to progress through the same spots a little bit quickly.
For a new runner in Mega Man 4, maybe the balloons you don't use it as well as the top runners, so it's not that of a loss. But for a top runner, not having the balloons, probably a big time loss. Nice fight over here from Ppot to on Pharaoh.
It's not really much of a time loss actually in Pharaoh Cab. Missing the jump to balloon is really actually only maybe like, it's probably less than like 10 frames slower. It's almost the exact same to do either way. So you won't really see, like at the very, like I'm probably erring on the side of like over exaggeration when I say 10 frames. Like it's very, very close to the exact same.
Usually my Pharaoh stage is way longer when I don't get a balloon, because when I get the other route, I'm gonna get the tank anyway, so I'm leaving.
Right. Okay.
While I'm there, I'm gonna take it. So at least when I got the jump, there was no temptation to get the item.
Yeah, the biggest, I guess, issue would be is if you don't practice those rooms, you don't really know maybe where the enemy placements are, because you typically don't ever play it. So that's something that the runners again might have an issue with if that happens to them. But Darkman seemed to get through it pretty well. So.
So yeah, here you got Ppot really confident. He's gonna take a lot of D-boost through the stage to get faster, and he's pretty confident about his fight on Brightman, that means. So I didn't know the thing with the Bright fight actually when I did my first run the other day. So the pattern that you need to shoot a little once with the buster and then only charge shot for him not to freeze you.
Yeah, it's a good way to remember. Yeah, like this. It's essentially based off his hit points. So when his hit points are at 16, 8, or 4 remaining, that's the trigger for him to flash you. So if you shoot him before you hit him with that 4th charge shot, which would drop him to 16 health, with a single shot, it'll put him at an HP value that basically means if you finish the fight with just charge shots, he'll never hit any of those values. So you can just easily finish him off with no worries. Again, Darkman getting those double 1-up drops. He got that in Mega Man 3, and now he's getting it in Mega Man 4. He's channeling his other game to come into these earlier games to give him more 1-ups. Mega Man 5 is obviously the one that's more known for the 1-up drops.
It's really generous, yes.
So here you see Ppotdot. He's doing using the Pharaoh glitch here on Bright. Pharaoh has a unique property where if you hit something with the charge above your head, as long as you don't release the B button, you still actually are holding a full charge. So you see him actually charging up and getting 2 full charged hits for only 1 charge, like only the time of it takes the charge once. So kind of a 2 for the price of 1 kind of deal. So it makes that fight a little bit faster, even faster than using Bright's actual weakness, which is Rain Flush. But since we don't have Rain Flush, and actually Rain Flush puts Bright in kind of the bad HP values anyway, it's still much faster to kill him with Pharaoh.
So here, yeah, we're gonna see the balloon strats here, the balloon climb for Ppot on this first section of the Ringman stage.
Ooh, the turret even let him by, but he's not quite getting that balloon. There he goes. So Ringman stage has a lot of mini bosses. It actually has 4, but thankfully we only actually have to fight one of them. So you see here Ppotdot just sort of bringing that hippo's platform down so he can jump over it and just slide right into the screen transition. This next mini boss he's actually going to have to fight, but it's actually the only one that we have to kill. So it sort of is nice, but the downside of it is you take a lot of damage throughout the stage because you deboost through a lot of the mini bosses. And so your HP is usually quite a bit lower than you would like normally for the actual Ringman fight. So they've got to be a little bit careful with their health management here to make sure they've got enough and can safely do the boss fight.
One good thing about the boss fight with Rayming those is there's no RNG. It's always going to be the same pattern. So
Yep.
if you know how to handle the fight here, you shouldn't be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I was just mentioning there, like, Ppotdot doesn't quite make that jump. But we saw Darkman. We saw Darkman doing that climb there. He doesn't have balloons, so we actually saw him doing it with Bright there. So that's sort of what I was talking about. Is he'll have one more section where he'll have to do it with Bright instead of balloon. Kind of an unfortunate death there by Ppotdot, but looks like this time he's made it through. So.
Mm-hmm. So here, there's the little animation. I tried to actually write the hippos like the snail on the Toadman stage to see if they actually appear or if the animation is gonna pop up here. But you actually need to fight them. Unfortunately, it's pretty much probably because the animation of the pole, or do you know?
You're talking about like what
the
specifically?
hippo fight. Yeah, I am talking about the hippo fight. I tried to bright before you enter the screen to see if you can actually skip the fight.
Oh yeah, no.
When I learned the game.
No, unfortunately that one doesn't work. So Ppotdot actually had a nice, an easier ring fight because he died, he had quite a bit of health, so he wasn't in any real danger. And Darkman actually has quite a bit of health here as well, so looks like he's getting, ooh, doesn't quite get the charge above, but he's got enough ammo to finish him off. So very nice.
So Dustman, that's another pretty tight stage. It's really, for new runners, I think Mega Man 4 was really something. The body damage from the bosses is really they're dealing a lot of damage, and this one is really hard for new runner. I think I got myself got into a lot of problem in this game.
Yeah, Dust stage is the hardest stage of the game. So you see Ppotdot's doing this screen with Flash Stopper. It is actually easier to do these first couple screens with Flash Stopper, so it's usually recommended that runners, especially new runners, go for it. Ooh, Darkman, on the other hand, went for the Pharaoh strat, and that shows you how tight it actually is. If you miss one of those pit enemies as they come up, you're basically dead. There's no way to really get by them without that. So he's going to try to do it again here. These Pharaoh shots are a lot more tight, and again, another pit enemy coming out and hitting him. So at this point, it might be a good choice to just quickly switch over to Flash Stopper here, because every death here is costing him at least 15 to 20 seconds, since respawning in this game is slow. Oh, going back to Pharaoh. He's just going to wait it out. I mean, at that point, I might have just stayed on Buster, I think. But he makes it through room 1, still has to get through this second room, though. And this is a tricky room as well, so he has to be careful. There's a lot of lag going on.
Yeah.
These red blocks are terrible. It's definitely the laggiest room of the entire game.
And you can't do anything about it.
Ppotdot getting pretty good luck from Dust. He did die in the corner, which kind of sucks, but he didn't do any invincible patterns, so that's good.
So what is the time difference when the boss gonna die in the corner or in the middle?
Usually it's about 70-ish frames, so a little over 1 second. Yeah, about 1.2-ish seconds maybe, roughly.
So
sometimes it's also important to, like, there's the magic pixels. We haven't really talked about that, but standing on those is also pretty important too. Like the Dive Man one, for example, is actually important. It saves about 82 frames just because he's jumping in water. Mega Man is super slow. So like, you wouldn't think it's that big of a deal, but it actually is once you start adding them all up, because there's 8 rooms you got to do it in.
So we got I think it's the only zip into the 8 Robot Masters did from Ppotdot here with the balloons.
Yep. Yeah, we won't see any zips from Darkman since he doesn't have any balloons, but zipping in this game is really hard to do anyway. The game developers actually made it so you couldn't zip in this game. They designed it in a way so that if you were in a wall or a ceiling, the game would kill you. But that doesn't happen if you're in invincibility frames. So the only time you can really zip in this game is if you're going to zip, the balloon will push you into the ceiling, but you have to make sure you take damage right before it happens. And so that's what that setup sort of is they set up so that they're on the balloon in the corner right as that enemy comes towards them, and they take the damage and it pushes them through.
So yeah, we're gonna see here there's a little tight jump here, but except for that, Skullman stage is pretty much straightforward here. It's not the hardest, I think. Skull and Toad are pretty much, I think, the easiest in this 8 for Mega Man 4.
Yeah, again, Skull is 100% manipulatable, so the runners will know exactly what he's going to do. The only randomness of this fight is how long he holds his shield up. So Ppotdot actually got a pretty good pattern. That was pretty short. He did make a little bit of a mistake there, and he got a second shield, and it's a pretty long one, so that's kind of unfortunate. But other than that, that fight was fine. Very small time loss. Darkman grabbing another one up there. He's collecting them, see if he can get to 9. But again, you see, like, he doesn't have balloons, so he has to do that first half with Bright, whereas Ppotdot was able to save a lot of time from climbing ladders by just jumping up balloons.
Yeah, he's gonna be a little bit slower. It's pretty easy though with Bright. The Skullman stage is really a step forward. Nice jump here. So here we got Dive Man for Ppotdot. This stage can be really tricky, especially with the spikes and the slide cancellation here. So you can't actually, when you slide in the water section, I think you can't jump after or something like that.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, the game doesn't let you jump while you're sliding underwater in 4 and 5 for whatever reason, and so runners, similar to 6, have to make sure that if they are going to slide underwater, that they have enough space that they can cancel the slide first and then jump after.
So Ppotdot is right in his element right now.
You can see, now that we're like 5 stages in, you can see why Bright and Pharaoh are done fairly early on. Just the 2 weapons are combined to be pretty much the most broken weapons of the entire game. Flash Stopper, obviously freezing enemies in place. It lasts for 5 seconds, but if you're sliding, that timer doesn't tick down. So if your movement is good and you slide consistently very well, you can make a single flash last for a very long time. And then Pharaoh Shot, again, getting that sort of 2 shots for the price of 1. It just makes those 2 weapons very, very useful in the early game, especially.
A nice section here with Skullman for the last portion of the stage for Ppotdot. And we saw, I think this morning, it was Primal with a route for which you take. It was I think it was Brightman really late into the game.
So Ppotdot actually did run out of skulls, so he had to finish off Dive. He elected to use Buster. It actually is faster to finish off Dive Man with Dust. Dust will deal 3 damage per hit, so but Ppotdot must not have realized that, and so elected to go with Buster. But he did have to be a little bit careful, because he didn't have enough health to take another body hit, so...
So here we got Darkman is a little bit... I think we're talking about maybe 40 seconds or maybe, I don't know, probably a little bit more, because they're at the that was 33 seconds before Dustman fight for Dustman stage for the both. But we're gonna see Darkman maybe take cut a little bit of time on Mega Man 5, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, Dive does move pretty fast, but it's pretty easy to just sort of hop over top of him, as long as you're kind of careful. Again, another sort of thing is you notice that Mega Man has a little bubble that comes out of his face when he's underwater. the fanfare doesn't start until all the bubbles leave the screen as well. So you kind of want to manipulate it in a way that the boss particles and the last little bubble of Mega Man are leaving the screen about the same time, so that the fanfare will start as soon as possible. It's kind of an extra annoyance for the Dive Man stage.
So here we're gonna see Ppot ride his way through the last section of a Real Man stage. He got in an energy drop before he started, but I think it was good with I think you only need 2 or 3 to get through all the sections. So
yeah, he had plenty left over, so that's good.
So we're gonna see if Real Man, aka Dive Man, is gonna be friendly with Ppot here. Perfect. You can see him when Drill Man is diving to the ground. He's gonna go into the corner, jump 4 or 5 times. I think it's 5. That's the amount of time that it's gonna take every time for Drill Man to come out the ground.
You only got one dive
here. Yeah, that was a nice fight. So here you got Darkman. Unfortunately, freeze the time a little bit too late, so the enemies had the time to shut. So the shot was he could have killed the enemy, but the shot's still there. So we needed to wait or to take damage and go through the spike with iframes.
Yeah, Drill typically I find that as long as you fight him, the same way every time, he's not that terrible. It's very rare to get a max dive pattern. I find that usually the worst case scenario I usually see is like 2 dives. If I see more than 2 dives, it's like, wow, like I haven't seen that in weeks typically. So it's a pretty common thing to just see 1 or 2 or 0.
So we're gonna see here Ppot doing Toolman fight. It's pretty straightforward. You got the first screen is a little bit complicated. You gotta win the pushing you in the same way. So there's 2 or 3 really tight jump here, but except for that, this with the waterfall, it can be a little bit complicated. You want to freeze the time. You don't want to get hit by the enemies on the ceiling.
And here's that mini boss skip you were talking about earlier. We can freeze the snail before he actually spawns.
Which is the best weapon to kill these snails when you if you run out of bright?
If you run out of bright, you can always use, like, I think Pharaoh Shot hits them pretty hard. I think it's 2 full charges and 2 small charges. So you can use like the glitch to your advantage by hitting him with a charge above your head, releasing a charge, and then shooting a small charge, and again allowing the charge above your head to hit him. I've seen Prissy do a pretty neat strat with Pharaoh on it. I'm sure we can see if he'll ever make us a video of it.
I mean, for the chat, I think I got I got a master of Mega Man 4 here with me for commentating, so I will be a fool enough to ask 1 or 2 questions to help myself.
Yeah, no worries.
During the round.
So Ppotdot is done with Toad. He actually did pretty well. This stage, despite the fact that it is a fairly easy boss fight, it's actually surprisingly a pretty difficult stage if you're trying to go fast. So the runners, again, had to be very careful in the rain section, careful in this waterfall section, just to make sure that they're not going to accidentally slide off an edge or something. It's pretty important to pay very close attention.
So here we were saying that Darkman's got a number 5 on Mega Man 3. He's got a 3403 for Mega Man 5. But Ppot defended himself pretty well here too. He's got a 3555. He's placed 19. So we're gonna see a lot of that's gonna be real close here.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance here that Darkman will make up some time here in 5. I think that's pretty much to be expected. But Ppotdot does have that sort of slight advantage now, which is going to be, I think, pretty helpful. There's a lot of things that actually change in Mega Man 5 from 4. The slide length is still the same. A lot of the movement mechanics are still the same, but Now you don't charge while you're sliding, so if you need to charge your Buster up, you kind of have to slow your movement down a little bit sometimes to actually get the charge. Enemies have invincibility frames, so you can't just mash through enemies anymore. You actually have to time your shots. And taking a hit even while you're charging will cause you to lose your charge. So it becomes a little more important to dodge enemies when you're trying to charge and stuff like that a little bit. The charge also is, I think, a little bit faster in 5, like it charges up quicker. And you can see that the sprite is much larger, so it's easier to hit targets. Ppotdot did get grab skip, so that's nice.
So yeah, here we're gonna see the arrow be choose. The arrow is supposed to be your rush jet, I think, but it's gonna be used a lot in this one by the 2 runner, that's for sure. And it's gonna be you need. There's a lot of stations where you can use it, but you want to cancel it a little bit by I don't think it comes used where you're not on it, so you want to walk to the right when you're riding the arrow. I think to save a little bit of
Yeah, so yeah, like the super arrow is sort of the main reason why Starman is first. There's not really a secondary route for this game because the arrow is so good that you need it in like literally every stage. And yeah, so how it works is when you fire it, it uses some energy, but as you stand on it, I think it's like every 5 frames or something, it uses up 1 energy. So ideally, it's nice because you can sort of run off of the edge of the arrow, and the arrow will continually sort of pick you back up as you go, but it'll also sort of like maintain some of that ammo and allow you to sometimes sort of make it last longer and use it again in other stages or other screens. Sorry. So we won't see that a whole lot here in Gravity, but we will see that in Gyro when Ppotdot gets there here after this boss fight with Gravity.
That's the kind of thing, if you want to make a good time on Mega Man 5, you need to master all the arrow strats, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the movement in 5 is important, but then if you can't do the arrows, like you just lose a ton of time. The arrows are really important to learn. And not only that, but backups too.
Yeah, like in Mega Man 1, if you want to be a good time on Mega Man 1, you need to learn the physics and how the broken beam or the magnet beam is working.
So again, Darkman not that far behind, really. Still less than a stage back, which is probably, again, this is probably the closest race we've had so far in the tournament.
Yeah.
So really cool to see that these guys have been keeping it really close.
And yeah, nothing is gained now until someone pushed the .done.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna see something. We're gonna see. I think we're in for a few surprises.
So here you're gonna see Ppotdot set up this arrow, and you'll see him running off of the edge. Oh, he didn't quite get up there. Oh, is he gonna be able to land on that? Nope. He's gonna run off of the edge if he can, but unfortunately he's getting hit a lot, so we'll maybe not see that in this stage at all. Maybe when Darkman gets here. We'll see, I guess, when he gets here. Yeah. Oh, Ppotdot having a lot of issues with these arrows, actually. He's gonna grab that health. Should be able to get all the way to the ladder now. Darkman also missing 1 cycle. The Gravity fight is 100% of the time the same, similar to like the Ringman fight in 4. So, but he must have missed 1 shot, and so had to kill Gravity in the bottom right corner instead of the upper middle spot.
So a little bit of trouble here with the slide section with the falling blocks, but he made it. He recovered okay here. So here, side-scrolling section, so it's a auto-scroll, so you can't do really anything. There's gonna be a try to shoot, jump, and look left and right to entertain the viewers, maybe. Yep.
And there. So that's what I was talking about. You see Darkman doing it there as he's sort of running off the edge of the arrow. And that's so that you noticed he got to that screen, the next screen, with 1 ammo left, and that allowed him to do that quick arrow up. If he didn't run off the edge of the arrow, he would have none left over. So that's sort of a good example of why we see the runners do that.
Mm-hmm.
So gyro down for Ppotdot. 3 robots in already for Mega Man 5. Darkman less than a half a stage back.
Next one's gonna be real quick. It's gonna be the Crystal Man stage, which I'm pretty sure we're gonna see the skip for both runner here. Maybe the setup is gonna be different a little bit. I don't know if there's one. I know there's one setup where you take damage, but you're gonna slide and not actually using the arrow to do that one.
Yeah, I think these guys are both using the arrow setup. It's just the easiest one.
Do you
Definitely
know
the
like?
safest.
Do you know the physics about this this skip? I think it's what's matter is actually the position of the enemy when you get killed by it, or is that what
it's
triggered
just some
it?
sort of it's just some sort of a weird thing that happens when Mega Man dies on like the frame that so that enemy spawns. You're basically dying on the exact frame that that looks a little high. Yep,
Yeah.
just a hair high. So Ppotdot's gonna have to try to do this again. But it has something to do with all the death sprites sort of appearing on the same frame that that enemy is supposed to spawn that little bouncing ball on top.
Okay.
And it just sort of like takes the space of it somehow in memory. And I'm not even really sure exactly how it works, but there is a sort of an explanation that Baron has written about it.
That's gonna work.
That's better, yeah. So he's got it this time. So Ppotdot can take a little break, stretch.
Probably take a peek onto Darkman's stream.
Yep, take a look, see where he is. He's going to be in the exact same spot here in a second, though. A big deal, actually, with that is at least, even though Ppotdot did not get the skip the first time, it was actually pretty critical that he had ammo left, arrow ammo left to still do it, because if he didn't, he would have had 2 options. One, to try to farm for ammo, which we've seen some people try to do before in races, and it usually never works out to their benefit. They're sitting there for so long. And then the other option is just to play the stage, really.
So the skip is done for Darkman too. So on the first try, he's gonna save a little bit of time. Probably the setup is quite long for that zip, so he might gonna save at least 20 seconds here.
Yeah, I believe Baron said that the difference between using this arrow setup and actually playing the stage and fighting the boss the normal way is about 9 seconds. If you do it the faster setup where you don't use the arrows, you can save about 14. But I don't think we're going to see too many people do it. Although we did see Jonathan do it in that last race, which was pretty crazy. But I don't think you're going to see too many people do it that way because it's a lot more risky. The arrow setup is very consistent.
A little bit of buffering on my side.
Yep. Yeah, I got some buffer going on too. Oh, okay. Sure.
So we got a 37 seconds difference here, according to Cal Precise in the chat. And we all know Cal Precise is really precise, so we can trust him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure both these runners are in napalm. I don't know. Still, we'll have to see yet what happens if might pull up. Because it should still be live on Twitch, right? I might pull that up just so that I have something to look at. Sure. Try not to spoil anything.
So little issue here, but I think we didn't went through one match without some tech issue for the runners or the organization actually.
Yeah. Oh, the other page is back.
Ah, perfect.
Perfect.
There we go. So we got Ppot just defeated Napalm, and well, Darkman is on his way, so it's really, really tight here. Like we said, I think Darkman is really catching up with the Mega Man 5 here.
Yeah, looking like a very, very clean fight going on too. Oh,
Yep.
he did shoot that wrong way there on accident, that last shot, but he does have the rebound ricochet back and kill him anyway, so it worked out. So Stone is the sort of longest stage of the robots here in 5. So there's a lot of places here where you could potentially lose maybe a little bit of time. Like little mistakes are going to be more key here. The only real gaps you go over aren't too difficult to avoid unless you are really, really risky. So probably won't see any too many big mistakes in this stage. But again, the little mistakes, they add up pretty fast. So it's really important to try to minimize those.
Here, a lot of deboost in this stage, because when you try to shoot these mets, they're just gonna break up in 3 little mets, and you're gonna lose. They're gonna have a lot of lags, and you're gonna get it anyway. So
yeah,
more
it's kind of
likely
weird.
to-
This is the only game where the land mets sort of break apart into additional mets.
Yeah, I think
for the
these are
NES
my
games. So
less favorite mets.
yeah,
For the series.
they're definitely annoying. That's for sure. But so a lot of it again, is just a lot of these little small enemies that can get in your way. So it's kind of important to try to kill them quickly, or just try to somehow avoid them as fast as you can, so that you can get by. It's again using a lot of super arrow. Like basically, that's sort of the name of the paper almost when it comes to this game is make sure you're utilizing your super arrow to its max potential. But Ppotdot is into his Stone Man fight. Sort of the Toad Man of Mega Man 5.
Yep.
Just sort of stay close to him and he just jumps.
No, definitely not a scary guy.
Yeah.
On Abbey Stone.
Darkman is still right behind him.
One of the longest level for Mega Man 5 is gonna be Charge Man.
Yeah, I think realistically, the only real critical thing that we're looking for in Charge is somebody better dedicate their chicken room, or I'm going to be a little annoyed.
Yeah, I think Ppot already said that he's gonna dedicate it.
Oh, good.
Always.
I've been waiting all tournament so far for some chicken room dedications. So nice to see it's about to start happening. But yeah, again, this again showing Super Arrow how useful it is. Just flying over this first train section just makes this room so trivial. And Ppotdot dropping now into the chicken room. This is probably one of the most fun screens to play, especially in the 8 robots of this game. Just timing your crystal eye shots into the chickens' hitboxes and getting rid of these mice in the way. I don't know what it is, but it just feels super good to nail the strats of this room.
Yep. When you can get there without taking any hits, or when it's really fluid, it's especially a good feeling.
Yeah, and
I don't know that one yet, but still.
he's got that one arrow, so we're gonna see how this goes. It looks good, actually. He might have this all the way to the end.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yep.
That's actually that's probably one of the hardest arrows to pull off. It's a very, very precise pixel that you're trying to hit, and he nailed it. So maybe an extra 2 to 3 seconds there for Ppotdot. Oh, okay. All right. So the only kind of annoying thing about Charge Man stage is that you have to fight Charge Man at the end. The fight wouldn't be that terrible if you didn't have to use Power Stone, unfortunately. The weapon is kind of awkward, so you see Ppotdot having to actually pause a lot to take those power stones off the screen, and Darkman doing the same thing right now. The reason why they keep pausing is just to get rid of the weapon so they can fire it right away again.
And there we go. So it's gonna be the last one, the Wave Man. So there's a skip here, or a zip actually, with the arrows. When you shoot, I think it's 3, and then you try to skip the boat for the Elder Scrolls section. You're gonna be able to move freely and menu into the game, but you can actually soft lock the game when you try that. So it's really risky. I don't think it saves a lot of time, Jelly.
The boat skip doesn't know. It saves about 1 second, so if you don't want to risk going for that and soft locking, then it's not really a big deal to not have to do it. But the bubble skip that you're going to see Ppotdot probably try to do right away here, it saves about 9 seconds. So if he can pull it off, ooh, doesn't quite get on it. See if he can get the backup. Ooh, this is looking okay. This is looking all right. All right, good.
There we go.
Very nice.
That was really impressive.
It doesn't look like he's going to get boat skip though, so again, that one's not as critical. It only saves 1 second. Basically, the time it takes for you to slide through the room after the whole boat section is the amount of time you save, because since he's in the boat now, Mega Man will auto walk instead. Ooh, Darkman doesn't get the skip, so it's going to cost him quite a bit of time now as he has to do these. See if he tries to go for the backup, or if he just decides to ride the bubbles the normal way.
Boat skip. Yep.
Oh, yeah, he's going to go for it. Looks like... Oh, he fell again!
So that's going to be really costly.
Yeah, that's really, really unfortunate. That's a pretty big time loss. So he doesn't really have too many options now, I think. Yeah, he's just going to do the bubbles the normal way. But he does still have enough arrow here. He could potentially do boat skip here. We'll see. He's setting it up. And he gets it.
There we go.
So, very nice. So the funny thing with boat skip is the game, obviously, they never intended for you to be able to skip the boat. And so there's no actual collision detection for Mega Man himself, only for the boat. So, like, as you can see, Ppotdot can press all the way up against the left and right side of the screen, but the game prevents him from going off screen, whereas there's no check for that for Mega Man because, like I said, he was never supposed to get there in the first place. So you see Darkman actually just walks off the screen. He's still there. He can walk off the screen and walk back on, but his sprite will be gone. But he can still shoot and still do pretty much everything, except for he has no hitbox, so he can't take damage, which is perfect in a scenario like this where he doesn't need to get the letter. And he can just sort of watch the scroller.
Yep. What is the risk to softlock the game here? You don't need to, if you go to the right or something. How can that happen?
You just, well, I'm not even really 100% sure how you can softlock after this point, but it has something to do with, I know your inputs if you move off screen. Like, I think you have to, like, I don't know exactly if it's like you can't walk or something off screen, like you have to like jump or something when you're off screen. But you'd have to ask Baron or one of the top Mega Man 5 runners or something. I'm sure they could explain it.
There we go.
But there's your time save is right there when he can slide through that one room. That's really the only place that it makes it faster.
So we got Ppot is starting Mega Man 6 with not Herman, but Windman here, the brother of Herman probably, or at least his cousin. He's in his element right now, so unfortunately, I don't know how is Darkman on Mega Man 6, but here we know Ppot's probably gonna do a really good time here.
Probably. I mean, Ppot has, like I said, he's got a really solid time in 6. He's the record holder currently in the game. But Ppot, when it comes to this game, because it's his main game, he typically doesn't turn anything off. He goes for every silly, stupid little frame-saving slide he possibly can. So really the only risk here for Ppot is if he decides to just do that and maybe starts to miss some stuff and take some deaths. That's really, I think at this point, Darkman's only chance to try to get back into this race at the moment.
I'm pretty sure he probably know the little advance he's got on the Darkman, so he might gonna be a little safer here, but We're gonna see him.
Well, you would think so, but I don't see it. I don't ever see Ppotdot play safe, so I'll be surprised if he gets rid of any of his tough strats. So getting through Windman here. We're going to start in Wind because it's the weakness for Flame. And that'll allow us to get Flame's weapon pretty quick. And Flame's weapon is very, very strong. Deals 4 damage to pretty much everything in the game. And so it makes a lot of screens in a lot of different stages. Makes killing the enemies through them really fast. And allowing you to get through without too much issue. So the big difference here from 5 to 6 is now the runners cannot jump out of their slides. So they have to be very aware, again, of their edges so that there's canceling their slides, similar to Mega Man 4 and 5 underwater, basically. Except in this game, when you cancel a slide, you come to a complete stop. So the movement kind of, in some ways, almost looks clunky, I guess is the best way to describe it. But it actually becomes very, very technical, going through and making sure you get all the cancels at the very last minute to try to get as much sliding frames as possible is basically sort of how it works. Mega Man 6 is very, very, very movement dependent on that. Like, obviously 3, 4, and 5 are also movement dependent, but there's just so many inputs in 6 that it feels actually a lot sort of like 3. There's just constantly canceling your slides so you can jump like all over the place, getting your little tiny micro slides all over. It's really important.
For as Mega Man moving, it looks like, I don't know, for Mega Man 6 to be like really the hardest to actually master.
It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. A big issue, especially like for me when I was trying to learn this game a bit, is coming out with finding a controller that you're comfortable with, because since you have to do a lot of cancels, there's a lot of D-pad movement. And you really only want to be canceling your slide for like 1 frame. So if you're sliding to the right, you don't really want to be holding left for a very long time. It's like a very quick tap of left and then back onto the right arrow. So there's a lot of really fast rolling on the D-pad. And you have to be really, really quick with that to get really good, clean slide cancels. Ppotdot complaining about Roland. I didn't actually see if he got hit, but he must have. And Darkman almost got hit by Roland there, but was actually too slow to get hit by Roland, so it worked out in his benefit. We nicknamed one of these little cloud platforms Roland because he's notorious for sniping the runners as they go by. But Flame Stage is probably one of the most fun speed stages. Definitely the most fun speed stage in Mega Man 6. The movement and the firing of like the Buster on some of these flamethrowers and stuff just feels so good when you like nail all the strats and everything goes really well. So I really enjoy this stage.
So here, probably one of my favorite stages in the Mega Man 6. You got the Blizzard Man here. I don't know, there's something about this stage. The boat section is there. You got some this section here. When you can do it like clearly, it's pretty cool, pretty satisfying to get through. So I mean, there's pretty much everything there, and you get to use the best weapon in the game. So
yeah, there's a lot of flame usage in this stage. Again, movement on ice can be a little tricky because obviously ice physics are always mean. See if Ppotdot gets Margarine Pit. Nice. Doesn't fall into the spikes. And he gets Butter. Very nice. That's actually very, very tough to do. It's very, very tight movement, and he pulled it off like really well.
I found myself having more difficulty to try to slide chain into Mega Man 6 than the other games.
Yeah, slide chaining becomes pretty important in this game just because of how the movement works.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, no bomb skip.
Yeah, that was what I was looking for here.
Bomb skip is a way you can go under the last 2 bombs of the stage right into the boss door, but it's sort of a 50-50 coin flip whether you get it or not. And even if you get that 50-50, you can still not get it. It's kind of it's just sort of a fluky thing. Nobody really likes going for it except Terex.
So one death here for Darkman. It at the jump, now make it on a second try, so that's gonna be costing a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's the last game. So we got Ppot still got the 80 advantage here.
The thing about deaths in this game, I guess you could say, is the one good thing about them is they are really fast. Like respawn timing, especially if it's not a spike death, if it's a pit death, some deaths are like less than 6 seconds if they're very, very quick. So like right near a checkpoint. So deaths in this game are actually not too terrible. Whereas like a death like that in like Mega Man 4 would be a minimum 15 to 20 seconds lost. Darkman just jumping right over the margarine pit. He's not even going to risk it and just waits a cycle on the submarine.
That's usually a smart idea to do when you're racing on Mega Man 6 and you're not especially comfortable with that, or play it safe with this section. Is really a smart move.
Darkman's into his boss door. Ppotdot's actually coming up to a section of plant stage. There's these platforms in plant stage that you're supposed to the correct way is to open them up with Buster so you can stand on them. But it's actually faster to not open them and to jump off of them without opening them. However, if you do that, the game is designed that's not supposed to allow Mega Man to stand on them, so it tries to push Mega Man off. So when you're standing and not holding left or right, landing on them, you have 4 frames to actually jump off of it. And if you're holding left or right, you only have 2 frames, so 1/30th of a second, basically. So these platforms you're seeing him do right now, these purple platforms, and he gets across all of them, which is very nice. It's a very, very small window for him to actually get those. He did it very nicely.
Yeah. This is pretty much the scariest section, I think, in all Mega Man 6 robots for any new runner, or even more experienced runner. And to see it done like with this way, it's really impressive.
Yeah, plant is definitely one of the biggest roadblocks when it comes to the 8 robot stages. Ppotdot having a really, really rough time with plant at the moment. Streamer when his 6th hit. So Darkman's still less than a stage behind, even after all the issues he had with the bubble skip and everything. So it's still pretty impressive that he's still been able to keep up as we're going through Mega Man 6, which is Ppotdot's main game now.
I think the turning point into this race was pretty much Dustman beginning, when we got Darkman trying the Pharaoh strats instead of the right one. I think this is the turning point.
Yeah, that was definitely a critical moment for sure. Still not out of it yet, but like I said, we're probably going to need Ppotdot to take a game over somewhere for it to change. And here we go with the platforms. Looks like Darkman's just going to open them with Buster. So this is the intended way you're supposed to do these. Sort of allows Mega Man to actually stand on them. So a lot less risky, but definitely a lot slower. So the risk is definitely, it's all about risk and reward when it comes to this stage.
And something you can't really see it on stream, but the physics with the spring here is really kind of weird and a little bit difficult to adjust. So it's not really intuitive. You need to die quite a few times here before you get it right. And even there, you need to take your time when you're not sure about these things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they first try to do the spring section, they try to treat the springs like the music blocks of like Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, probably.
And that's actually not how they work. It's not about timing your A press off of a spring. It's actually just holding the A button. You'll automatically jump high off of them. So it's actually really easy. And so if you try to time your A input, sometimes runners will actually hit A a little late. And then instead of getting a high jump, they'll get a low jump expecting a high jump. And it's never a good thing if you're expecting a high jump and you don't get a high jump. You'll usually just go right into a pit or something of that nature.
I'm taking notes here.
Ooh.
So there we go. You got Tomahawk is dead for Ppot. We're gonna jump to Yamato, man. So I think the worst is done for Mega Man 6, regardless of the bosses. I mean, for the stages, Yamato is really, really quick. Nightman, we're gonna see something dangerous there, but...
Yeah, usually for the speedruns perspective of any percent, Yamato is like a nice stage to get to because it's usually the most consistent stage out of your 8 robots. It's a pretty easy stage to get through. Still not to be sort of, you know, not to sort of fall asleep while you're playing it, but like, you still have to be sort of aware of a couple jumps. But for the most part, when you compare it to a lot of the other stages, it's quite a bit easier. And then Knight has a couple scary sections, and Centaur can also, if you are going for some really, really tight slides. So hopefully runners will have no issues with that, but you never really know. We had actually a race before the tournament started, and both Ppotdot and another runner were playing, and they were both in Centaur, and Ppotdot was actually ahead and ended up taking 2 quick deaths and game overed. And it actually turned around right at the very last stage, so hopefully he's not thinking about that too much while he's doing this race, and he can focus on this one, but it's definitely not too far-fetched to believe that something like that could happen again. So yeah, you're just seeing again, like, through these middle stages here, like how much they use flame, because it's just such a powerful weapon. Deals so much damage. Ooh, I hope he made that. Okay.
Yep.
I always get nervous when people pause around ledges. Mega Man 6 ledges are not the best programmed thing in the world, so, but he did make it, so that's good. Yamato is down, so 2 more stages for Ppotdot.
Yeah, we're talking about 1 stage in advance, but it's Yamato, so it's the shortest one at least.
Yeah. Two Robot Masters left for him, and 3 more to go for Darkman. It's been very, very close. Pretty much, I don't think there's been a gap, you know, bigger than really like a stage and a half. Maybe was the largest gap we had. At most, like, it's been pretty close throughout this entire race.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
the lead swapped about 3 times. So
yeah, when I saw the name of Darkman and the Ppot on the same for the matches, I was really looking forward for this one.
So, Night stage is actually a pretty fun stage. I actually really enjoy playing it. And you use Spear throughout it because you're trying to minimize your menus in 6. The menu in 6 loads pretty slowly. So, since Night is weak to Spear, you want to try to use it as much as you can.
Totally missed there. Did the Ppot try to do the spike skip or probably?
I didn't see which one he did. He definitely did it. I just don't know which one he did, if he did the faster one or the slightly slower one. But you can see when he fires spears that one spear will go sort of upward and the other one will sort of angle downward. And because of that, we'll see if he gets this strat here with the Mad Nerds. He does. So he has to have a very specific setup into that room. He needs his first spear to be going down so that his second spear will kill the first Mad Nerd and hit the second one at the same time. It's sort of like a way to kill both those enemies with only 3 spears, because they take a minimum of 2 shots no matter what you hit them with typically. So being able to save 1 ammo by doing that strat is kind of handy. And hopefully for him, Knight won't jump too much. And as soon as he starts the fight, he's doing some big jumps. That's really not what we want to see. We want Nightman to stay on the ground, but unfortunately, he is Sir Jumpington today for sure. So 1 more stage to go for Ppotdot, and Darkman still on his heels, but just might be too little, too late. We'll see how this last stage goes for Ppotdot.
So I don't know if we're gonna see a spike skip for on the end of Darkman here, because you might know that you need to cover a little bit of terrain here to get close to Ppotdot, or we're gonna see here. No.
Ooh, is he gonna even make it? No, he's gonna wait it out. That's probably a wise choice after getting hit. It's kind of a tight jump to do. He's gonna take a hit here also. He is through.
And we're seeing here, that's a nice stage for Ppotdot. It's really impressive to see all the sliding here underwater.
Ppotdot didn't quite get the new faster room, but he does still deboost across the spikes because it's faster than waiting for the water ceiling to come back down. And he is literally moving into the last few screens.
45 down, 1 to go.
Realistically here, that little spike pit he just jumped over and this pit are the really only last places really he can die. So if he does not somehow fall here in this screen, it's gonna be over. That should be it. And he gets the ladder jump, which is some little bit of extra swag there for the viewers.
Yeah, Ppotdot didn't let down anyone with his Mega Man 6. He earned this title pretty well. So last one, is there any RNG for Centaur Man here?
There is a little bit. So Centaur can teleport up to 3 times. Every time he teleports, you lose about 2 seconds. But Ppotdot got the good pattern. No teleports. That's a very, very good pattern. And
there we go.
Finishes in first with a 150.57. So solid time.
That's really solid. I think his PB is 1 hour 50 minutes 40 seconds. So we are 17 seconds over the PB of Ppotdot. So that's really incredible.
Yeah, really good time. And realistically speaking, Darkman is actually probably still on PB pace then at this point, because you said he had a 155 PB.
It's I-55, so 155 and 55 seconds, so he's on his way for a new PB here, so incredible.
Yeah.
We can say that Darkman didn't fight well here. It was really an incredible run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you get the best possible time you've ever done and still can't win, I mean, I don't know. There's nothing you can really say. No. You clearly did your best, so I don't think he can be ashamed of anything today. It was a good run. And again, the times that he's putting up right now, they're not a waste either. He still wants to finish fairly quickly, because if there's some form of tiebreaker that is needed, then he wants to have as low of a time as possible, so that can sort of still be to his advantage if he has to somehow defeat somebody else with the same what's the word I'm looking for? Not score, but sort of their win-loss ratio. I'm a loss for words. That's what I'm trying to say. So
there it is. So here
get a miss menu. Another miss menu. Please, Mega Man 6.
There we go.
So again, into this last room. If he can get out of here, he's home free. And it looks like he should be fine. So even with a terrible boss pattern, he should still get 153 here, it looks like. Well, it'll be close. I think he should still get the 153, though. Hopefully he doesn't get 3 teleports, but... we'll see. Looking good so far. If you ever get a walk pattern from Centaur off the beginning, it means the worst case scenario is 1 teleport, but he also got
There
0
we go.
teleports, so solid. Second place with a 153.54. It's a new PB for Darkman, and it's a great run.
Yeah, it's over 2 minutes here, so that's a great job to him. Really incredible. So yeah, GG, all the chat is there. So GG to both runner. That was an incredible run. I think all the viewers was looking for this one and they were not disappointed. We had 2 really good runners and they really pull up there. That was quite something. I'm looking at the spreadsheet here. We're gonna have there's 2 more matches for the 46 Robots tournament. You got Baron Haynes gonna play against Avalon Star at 7:30 on Twitch Speedrun Live, and we're gonna have Darko and Enemy TV is gonna play at 10 p.m. today. So that one's gonna be on Speed Gaming.
Yeah, so if you're looking for more Mega Man, head over to the Speedruns Live channel in about, I guess, in a couple hours, I guess?
2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have, that was a really busy day. We got 5 match here that people are gonna play. That was there's gonna be 2 others tomorrow, but today's was really oh no, these been oh no, that's the other one. So yeah, quite a load day for Mega Man 2. So I think they're gonna redirect it. I think we're gonna, before we leave, maybe so thanks everyone. It was a pleasure, Chelny, to do commentary with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was, my name is Mazmov and I was with Chelny, and I don't know, I think on the Speed Gaming channel what you're about to see, probably I think there's a Super Metroid tournament or something going on. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure.
Coming up,
Quite sure.
yeah, it's there's a couple things. It's about an hour from now. We've got Dr. Mario tournament happening, and then we've got some Super Metroid double anti-bingo after that, and then at 10 p.m. it's more 46 Robot Masters here.
So busy evening coming up. So
It's a
lots
variety.
of stuff to watch.
Yeah, today
So
we
go
have.
grab a drink and some food, guys. You're in for a treat today.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a little bit of everything.
There's the Darkman GIF. I was wondering if you were going to see that. There it is.
That's beautiful.
Awesome. But yeah, thanks again for restreaming this one, Fiesel, and hopefully we'll catch you all guys next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
See ya.